a company known as cheap and unreliable years ago. A brand taken as a joke has now become exemplary. Surpassing giants like Ford, Honda, and General Motors, they have become the third largest producer of quality cars globally. The credit for this success story goes to one determined man who defied all odds, left his home as a teenager to overcome poverty, and built the biggest company in South Korea. He revolutionized the automobile industry along with construction, shipbuilding, and many more. It's astonishing how a man whose life was full of failures and bad luck made the largest automobile manufacturing company globally. The tale I am about to share is that of a man named Chung Ju-Yung, who went against all odds and rose from poverty and failure to build one of the most successful companies in South Korea, Hyundai. Chung Ju-Yung was raised in a poor household in a North Korean village and quickly learned to give up on his aspirations. Despite intending to be a teacher, he had to leave school at age 14 to help out on the family farm. The family struggled despite their hard work planting and harvesting rice, selling firewood, and raising animals. Overwhelmed with thoughts of living his whole life as an unsatisfied farmer, Chung decided on a harsh solution. At 16, he escaped his village with a friend and found work as a construction worker in Cowan. The pay wasn't much, but he was proud of discovering that he could earn for himself. He was brought back to the village by his father. Chung was aware of what life was like beyond his farm, so he escaped 2 more times to Seoul, only to be caught again. His father discouraged him, saying he was just a farm boy who would not make it, but he stood tall. Then, a bad harvest arrived, which left the village with no food. It was a turning point in Chung's life as he escaped for the last time. The rest is history. To survive, Chung Ju-Yung worked different jobs until he found stability at a rice store. His determination to succeed did not go unnoticed by the shop owners, and he became the store accountant there within 6 months. Throughout the years, the owner's health condition worsened, and he wanted to leave his store in good hands. So he sold the store to Chung. At 22, Chung took over the business and worked day and night to turn the shop into one of the best rice shops in town. His strategy to attract customers by selling at a low price worked effectively, and the profits rose significantly, but he could not enjoy it for long. The Japanese colonial administration introduced a system of rice rationing to transfer grains to Japan due to their conflict with China. Due to this, he had to close his firm. Anybody would be crushed by such failure, but not Chung Ju-Yung. He started researching businesses that had minimum government intervention, and bingo, he found one. The car repair business was full of opportunities. Chung recognized the lack of competition in the auto repair business, allowed the owners to label a high price. So he opened a shop that offered high-quality service at a low cost and attracted many customers. However, tragedy struck again. A fire destroyed the shop, leaving him with huge debts to pay. But to get out of this mess, he took a loan and opened a new car repair shop in a busier area and applied the same strategy. The business grew quickly, and Chung had 70 workers working under him, but his fate had other plans again. The Japanese government took over his company to support their war efforts during World War II, and Chung had no choice but to return home. He lost his business, but he still managed to save 50,000 won and started planning his next venture. He had no idea that his idea would completely alter everything. After Korea gained independence from Japan at the end of World War II, government restrictions were reduced. In 1946, Chung reopened his auto service center. He named it Hyundai, which means modern in English. The services were used by US military trucks and Japanese jalopies. He quickly expanded his employee network from 30 to 80 people. His family also joined him in the business. He had contracts worth 300 to 400,000 won for his services, but he was amazed when he saw that a company could receive 10 billion won per project. So, in 1947, Chung founded the Hyundai Construction Company. Despite struggling initially, the company made progress by 1950, but his fate caught up to him again. The outbreak of the Korean War forced Chung to leave his business behind and move to Busan. Luck was on his side as he found a job sign seeking construction experts. By working there, he formed a partnership with the US Army. His team completed big projects such as building lodging for the US president. After the Korean War, the US government provided billions of dollars to rebuild the South Korean economy. and Chung won the country's most significant contract for the restoration of the Goryeo Bridge. His lack of experience and equipment led to accidents, and the rising inflation forced him to take on huge debts. Chung's guilt drove him to build the biggest company in South Korea to improve his family's situation. Despite the Goryeo Bridge project failure, Hyundai received a high credit score from the Ministry of Interior, allowing them to expand with loans and advanced machinery. Partnership with the U.S. Army gave them an edge to import equipment directly and win restoration projects, making them one of the fastest-growing companies in South Korea. Then, Chung decided to take his business international, becoming the first in his country to do so. Hyundai had won billion-dollar projects such as the Jubail Industrial Harbor in Saudi Arabia and the Arab Shipbuilding and Repair Yard in Bahrain, which changed their image from a failing business to a rising global conglomerate in 2 decades. Since Hyundai was the source of the growing economy of South Korea, it received special treatment from the government, including financial subsidies, loan guarantees, and tax breaks, allowing them to diversify into various industries. That's how in 1960, Chung built the biggest company in South Korea. Chung's relentless growth got Hyundai into shipbuilding, store chains, electronics, and financial services. However, he didn't forget his passion, which he lost due to the war, the automobile industry. The Korean government introduced a policy that foreign automakers could only operate in the country through joint ventures with local businesses. The aim was to improve the country's knowledge and production capabilities in the automotive sector. In response to this policy, Chung Ju-Yung founded the Hyundai Motor Company in 1967 and obtained a license agreement with Ford Motor Company to use their vehicles. Within 6 months, Hyundai constructed a large assembly plant in Ulsan and successfully produced its first car, the Hyundai Cortina. The Hyundai Cortina, modeled after the Ford Cortina, was successful in Great Britain, but it faced a contrasting fate in South Korea. The poor road conditions in the country made the car virtually undrivable in most areas, making it useless to the people. Demand for refunds spread rapidly throughout the country. To make the situation worse, severe flooding hit the Hyundai factory in September 1969, submerging much of their equipment and car parts under 4 feet of rainwater, with partially assembled Cortinas floating around the factory floor. Rumors began circulating that Hyundai was selling waterlogged vehicles, further damaging their sales and reputation and pushing the company to the brink of bankruptcy. But Chung's stubbornness didn't allow him to give up on Hyundai. As road conditions in South Korea improved, the Hyundai Cortina began to gain popularity, and the company expanded its production capacity at the Ulsan factory. However, their partnership with Ford turned sour when Ford refused to allow Hyundai to distribute the Cortina overseas and declined to share profits equally. In 1974, Chung terminated the contract with Ford and decided to build a new car on his terms, which would change the entire Korean car industry. After ending their partnership with Ford, Chung partnered with Mitsubishi, hired European engineers, and designed the Hyundai Pony, a hit in South Korea and the first mass-produced car in the country. The Pony was expanded to the global market, selling well and becoming a bestseller in Canada. However, it failed to meet U.S. emission standards, so Hyundai released the Excel in 1985, which broke into the American market at $4,995 and sold 168,000 units in its first year. Despite the breakthrough, it wasn't exactly what Chung had envisioned for Hyundai's success. Hyundai struggled with poor quality and falling sales, but by the 1990s, they developed new models and invested heavily in quality design and manufacturing processes after acquiring Kia Motors. By 2004, they tied with Honda for the second-best initial brand quality in the industry after Toyota. Hyundai's 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty on all vehicles sold in the U.S. helped prove their quality and establish them as one of the top car brands of the 21st century. Chung devoted his later years to philanthropy and politics before passing away in 2001 and leaving the control of his company to his sons. Today, Hyundai Motor Group is the world's third-largest automaker and a leader in electric vehicles. Chung Ju-Young's story is one of a kind. It will be written down in history how a poor boy from Korea never backed down, even when he spent all his life recovering from failures. This was how a farm boy built one of the world's most powerful companies, Hyundai. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video.